Hello everybody, Interi back again with another video. I have some time here at work, I have some break. And what can I do on my breaks, guys, besides talking about tennis, the thing that I love so much. And today's video, guys, is gonna be about, the topic's name will be, who will be the third player that will defeat Rafa Nadal ever in French Open, because we know that two other players has done that in the past, only two players, of course. The first one who did that was Robin Söderling in 2009. He shocked the world. Nobody was expecting that to happen. I'm from Sweden, and Robin Söderling is from Sweden, so I can tell you guys that when Robin defeated Nadal in 2009, the whole Sweden, guys, just was amazed by his performance, and he was a big hero here in our country. Just, I can tell you that. And the second player, of course, it was Novak Djokovic in 2015, like you all guys know. So, who will be the third player who will defeat Rafa Nadal in French Open? Because that will happen. We all know that. Sooner or later, a third player will come through and defeat Rafa Nadal in French Open. The question is, who will be that? Who do I believe will be the third player that will defeat Rafa Nadal in French Open? I can tell you this, guys. When a couple of years ago, in 2012, 2013, 2014, I was writing a lot of tennis in a Swedish article here in Sweden, the biggest newspaper here in Swedish, and in that newspaper we had a forum, and we tennis nerds could write tennis and say our thoughts and our opinions and things like that. And I've never told you that I've never told this to anyone, at least not on my channel, but I'm gonna do that now. And I got a question back in the years, in 2013, 14, something like that. I don't remember exactly which year. And they asked me, some dude asked me, who do you believe will be the second player who will defeat Rafa Nadal in French Open back in the years? And my answer was Novak Djokovic. I truly believe that the second player who would defeat Rafa Nadal in French Open would be Novak Djokovic. And I was right about that. So that was the information that I wanted to share with you guys. So now I'm gonna try to pick the third player who I believe will defeat Rafa Nadal in French Open sooner or later. Then I don't know if that will be this year in 2019, or it will be next year in 2020, or even in 2021. I don't know exactly which year, guys, but I think when Rafa will lose in French Open, he will do that to this opponent, and that opponent is Dominic Thiem, I believe. I think the hard-hitting Austrian will be the third player that will defeat Rafa Nadal in French Open. Because I know that he has never taken one set against Rafa Nadal in French Open in 3 previous meetings. The first meeting was already in 2014, when Dominic Thiem was only 20 years old. So of course he was not as good in 2014 what he is now. That's pretty obvious. And the second meeting was in 2017 in the semifinals. Even there, Rafa won in straight sets, exactly like he did in 2014. In the second round, I think they faced each other in 2014, if I'm not wrong. And then we all remember the French Open final last year, the third meeting between these two in French Open, and even there Dominic Thiem didn't win any set. So Rafa has faced Dominic Thiem 3 times in French Open, and he has won all of the sets, 9 sets. So it is 9-0 to Rafa Nadal against Dominic Thiem. But Dominic Thiem is a different kind of player nowadays, in my opinion. I believe he is even better than what he was last year, to be quite honest. Yeah, I know he lost to Dusan Lajovic in Monte Carlo pretty early, but let's face it, guys, Dusan Lajovic did a really, really good week that week in Monte Carlo. He played his first ATP final, and he defeated really, really good, solid players on his way to that final. One of them, Medvedev. So that is not a bad sign from Dominic Thiem that he lost to Dusan Lajovic in Monte Carlo. And here in Barcelona last week, he really impressed on me, guys. I have probably never seen Dominic Thiem being so good, so clutch, so ruthless like he was in that last week in Barcelona. He won that tournament without dropping a set. And he has all the elements, guys, to be the third player to defeat Rafa Nadal in French Open, guys. He really has. His best surface is clay. He has all the tools. He has the power. He has the movement. He has the belief. He has the elements that can defeat Rafa Nadal on clay. Because, in my opinion, it is only two ways that you can defeat Rafa Nadal on clay, guys. The first way is like Robin Söderling did in 2009, to go big and to hit bombs and to serve bombs like Robin Söderling did in 2009. I have seen that match many times, and Robin Söderling defeated Rafa Nadal in that way. He served big, he was hitting, he was crushing the ball both from the forehand side and the backhand side. And Rafa Nadal didn't have any answers to that kind of play. And Robin Söderling won that match, like we all remember, in 4 sets. And the other way how you can defeat Rafa Nadal is like Djokovic did in 2015, to defeat Rafa Nadal, to give Rafa Nadal the same medicine like Rafa Nadal do to all the others, being solid from the baseline, wearing him down, make a few unforced errors, and just challenging him from the baseline, and being stubborn. Who will miss less from the baseline? And that was the way that Novak Djokovic defeated Rafa Nadal, in my opinion, in 2015 in that quarterfinal. Novak Djokovic was the more solid one from baseline. He did much less unforced errors than Rafa Nadal. He challenged Rafa Nadal from baseline, because we all know that Novak Djokovic doesn't crush the ball, guys. He doesn't do that. At least not even close as Robin Söderling did in 2009. So these are the two only ways how you can defeat Rafa Nadal on clay. And Dominic Thiem has both of these ways, guys. He can crush the ball. He can play like Robin Söderling. He can serve big. Not as big as Robin Söderling did in 2009, but he has a good serve, Dominic Thiem. He has a great second serve with that kick that bounces very high on clay. And Rafa Nadal, we all know that he doesn't return close to the baseline. He returns pretty far behind from the baseline, guys. So when Dominic Thiem's second serve bounces high, Rafa Nadal's returns will most probably be short, and then Dominic Thiem can go forward on the court and hit the ball all that he can, guys, and make a lot of winners. So Dominic Thiem has the power to defeat Rafa Nadal on clay, both from his forehand side and from the backhand side, and he has a good serve, guys. His serve is good, and especially his second serve with that kick is very, very effective on clay. And he can play also like Novak Djokovic. He can be really good from the baseline, do a few unforced errors when he is on fire, like he did in that semi-final against Rafa in Barcelona. He did only 23 unforced errors. That is really low, considering how much he goes for his shots. So he can play good from the baseline. He can challenge Rafa Nadal from the baseline as well. He can take Rafa Nadal from the baseline as well. So he can play both like Robin Söderling and like Novak Djokovic. So he has both of the ways in his game to defeat Rafa Nadal in French Open. And he is a physical monster as well, guys. You cannot wear down Dominic Thiem with the by making him tired. He will never be tired, guys. Dominic Thiem is one of the fittest guys on the tour, maybe the fittest of them all, guys. So Rafa Nadal will not wear him down physically, that's for sure. Rafa Nadal can wear him down, and absolutely mentally, yes, he can. Absolutely. Not only Dominic Thiem, but all the players in the world he can. But when it comes to physically, Rafa Nadal will not wear down Dominic Thiem like he usually wears down everybody else, guys, besides maybe not Novak Djokovic. So, in my opinion, Dominic Thiem will be the third player that will defeat Rafa Nadal in French Open. But when it will be in 2019 or 2020 or 2021? I don't know, guys. I don't have any clue. But my feeling is that when Rafa will lose in French Open for the third time, it will be against Dominic Thiem. I don't see anybody else being the third player who will defeat Rafa Nadal. Of course, Novak Djokovic can be that as well. Of course, he has defeated Dominic Thiem. He has defeated Rafa Nadal on clay most times of all players in the history, 7 times. Dominic Thiem is on the second place. He has defeated Rafa 4 times. But Djokovic, Djokovic has a negative thing that he is now world number 1 and Rafa Nadal is the world number 2. So Djokovic has to face Rafa Nadal in the final in the French Open. First of all, Djokovic has to go to a French Open final, which is not sure that he will do. And the second one is that to beat Rafa Nadal in a final, it is really, really difficult in French Open. Like we all remember, he has played 11 French Open finals and he has won all of them without playing a 5-set. He has won all of his 11 French Open finals 3-0, 3-1. So that's the big issue with Novak Djokovic, that he has to defeat Rafa Nadal in a French Open final because they are number 1 and number 2 in the world, at least for the moment. So that's why I don't believe in Novak Djokovic that he will be the third player who will defeat Rafa Nadal in French Open. So my feeling is that Dominic Thiem will be that player because he is not as high ranked as Novak Djokovic. He's the world number 5. So he has the chance to face Rafa Nadal in the quarterfinals or in semifinals, and that's Dominic Thiem's big advantage, because in my opinion it is much easier to defeat Rafa Nadal in a quarterfinal or in a semifinal in French Open than what it is in a final. Alright guys, that was it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys all around the world are feeling great, and don't forget to subscribe. That will make me happy, and we see you next time, and bye bye and take care guys.